It started with the sound of screeching tires and gunfire slicing through the night air. Elena's hands flew to her round belly, her heart pounding so hard she thought the baby could feel it too. The black SUV cut them off so suddenly the driver had to slam the brakes, sending her bodyguards crashing forward in their seats. A voice barked through the chaos, deep and cold. "Bring her out." The hair on her neck stood up. She knew that voice. In a single breath, the car jolted forward, metal grinding against metal bullets ricocheting off the armored doors. She curled into herself, whispering, "Please, God, please." And just like that, we're thrown into the middle of a story that started months earlier, under a concrete bridge on the other side of the city. That morning had been like any other for Elena. She woke up stiff-chilled from sleeping on bare concrete, her worn handbag clutched to her chest like it contained her entire soul. Her clothes smelled faintly of dust and rain, her sandals flopping against her heels as she shuffled past street vendors shouting prices over sizzling oil and exhaust fumes. People barely glanced at her. She was just another shadow in a city that moved too fast to care. Her stomach growled as she muttered under her breath, "God, just get me through today." By late morning, she found herself wandering past towering glass buildings in the heart of downtown Atlanta. She'd been drawn there before, like some part of her craved being near success, even if it was behind thick glass walls. That's when she noticed one building, its silver logo gleaming under the sun, Western Tech Group. She'd seen that name before. The CEO, Malcolm Ward, was practically a legend in the tech world. Inside, behind a wall of glass, a meeting was happening. She didn't mean to stop, but she couldn't help it. She stood there staring through the glass at a scene so tense it practically hummed with pressure. At the head of the table was Malcolm himself, tall, broad-shouldered, but looking like he hadn't slept in days. "We're out of time," he said, voice tight. "If we can't present clear growth metrics by tomorrow, they'll pull the plug. We'll lose everything." The accountants and analysts around him exchanged nervous glances, flipping through messy spreadsheets and charts that didn't make sense. Malcolm's voice cracked as he continued, "I know we grew this year. I can feel it. But these numbers are chaos." Elena studied the board. Something about it tugged at her mind like a puzzle she'd solved before. The data was a mess. Different calendars, duplicated entries, payments mixed with invoices. It wasn't just wrong, it was backwards. She took a deep breath. Her fingers trembled, but she pushed open the door. The room froze. A woman in a torn dress and dusty sandals had just walked into a billion-dollar company's boardroom like she owned the place. One executive scoffed. "Who let her in here?" Another murmured to security. "Get her out." "Wait," she said, her voice steady despite her pounding heart. "I can help you. I can save your company." The room erupted in laughter. One man, David Carter, the head of accounting, smirked. "Oh, really? And what exactly qualifies you to fix this?" "Your degree from the streets." The guards moved closer, but Malcolm raised a hand, his sharp eyes narrowing. There was something in Elena's tone that wasn't desperation or arrogance. It was certainty. "What would you do first?" he asked quietly. She stepped forward, scanning the whiteboard. "First, standardize your dates. Use one calendar, January to December. Move every sale to its actual invoice date. Second, strip duplicates. Keep the latest records only. Third, separate invoices from cash. Investors care about what's been paid, not what's been promised. Fourth, group sales by product and region. Fifth, calculate gross margin. Then show growth month over month, clean and simple." Silence. David barked a laugh. Ridiculous. She's guessing. But Malcolm ignored him, handing Elena a marker. "Show me," he said. Her knees almost buckled, but she took the marker, wiped the board clean, and began to draw. Months lined up in a neat row. 2 simple graphs: revenue and cash received. She sketched a clear, steady growth line, marking the dips and spikes with short notes. She added a waterfall chart to explain returns and promotions, then circled the key takeaway. Growth is strong. Cash collection improved. Profits are up. When she stepped back, the room was dead quiet. "She's right," whispered a junior analyst. Another nodded. "We did mix cash with invoices, and the calendars were inconsistent." Even Malcolm looked stunned, tracing the line she'd drawn with his finger like it was proof of life. He turned to her, voice breaking with relief. Thank you. You just saved us. By the next morning, Elena was in a luxury spa she never imagined stepping foot in. Malcolm had insisted. He personally told the staff, give her everything she needs. Hours later, she barely recognized herself. Her hair was smooth, her nails polished a deep green gown replacing her tattered dress. That night in his study, Malcolm asked softly, "Who are you really?" Her story spilled out in halting words. She'd graduated top of her class in data analytics, had dreams of building her own firm. But then her father was murdered in a robbery gone wrong. Her mother died soon after from heartbreak, and an uncle forged documents to take the family home. She'd lost everything. I stopped fighting, she whispered, tears streaking her face. I ended up under a bridge. I was nothing. Malcolm's expression hardened with empathy. He told her of his own pain, his wife leaving him for his best friend, taking his savings, even the children he thought were his. That pain almost broke me, he said, voice low. But I built this company from that fire, and maybe it was fate that brought you here. Elena was soon hired as head of data analytics. The media ran headlines, "Mystery Analyst Saves Billion-Dollar Tech Giant." She became a symbol of second chances, yet not everyone celebrated her rise. David, stripped of authority, seethed in silence. As months passed, Elena and Malcolm grew close, late nights at the office turning into long talks about life, dreams, regrets. Then one evening, under fairy lights in the mansion garden, Malcolm dropped to one knee. "You didn't just save my company," he said, holding a ring. "You saved me. Will you marry me?" Tears blurred Elena's vision as she whispered, "Yes." Their wedding was the event of the year. Elena walked down the aisle in a flowing white gown, whispers of her Cinderella story rippling through the crowd. She carried herself with quiet dignity, proof that resilience could rewrite a life. But fairy tales don't erase enemies. Months later, pregnant and glowing Elena left a late meeting early. That's when David struck. The ambush exploded onto the streets of Atlanta, masked gunmen trying to drag her out of her SUV. Her guards fought back fiercely, one of them shouting into the radio, "We're under attack. Protect Mrs. Ward." When the attacker's SUV was finally disabled, sirens filled the air. Police raided David's apartment that night, finding plans, payment records, even recordings of him plotting. In court, he glared at Elena. "You think you belong here? You're nothing but a street rat who got lucky." She held his gaze, voice calm. "Truth always belongs, and truth is why you're here in chains." The gavel slammed 10 years in prison. But David's last words were a warning. "You won't survive this world either. People like you never do." A chill ran through her. She knew enemies bigger than David might be watching. One stormy night, Elena went into labor. Malcolm stayed by her side, holding her hand through every contraction. When their daughter's cry filled the hospital room, both parents wept openly. Mira Malcolm whispered our miracle. The years that followed were a whirlwind. Elena rebuilt the company's reputation, becoming a sought-after speaker. At one conference, she stood before a sea of young faces and began, "I once lived under a bridge. I begged for food. But one day I saw someone else in pain and I chose to act. That choice saved me." The room erupted in applause, tears glistening in strangers' eyes. Even her estranged uncle came crawling back on his knees, begging for forgiveness. Malcolm tensed, ready to throw him out, but Elena raised her hand. "You took everything from me," she said quietly. "But if I keep hating you, I'll never be free. I forgive you, but I will never trust you again. Leave." Her uncle wept, shuffling out of the mansion like a ghost of her past. One quiet Sunday, Elena watched Mira chasing butterflies in the garden. Malcolm slipped his arms around her waist and asked softly, "Do you ever think about it? The bridge, that boardroom, the marker in your hand?" She smiled, leaning into him. "Every day. It reminds me that no matter how far we fall, destiny can still find us." As Mira giggled, holding a butterfly in her tiny hand, Elena whispered, "I thought my story ended under that bridge, but God had other plans." The golden glow of the mansion lights bathed them like a promise. But beyond those gates, whispers of resentment still stirred. The kind of whispers that make you wonder, can someone who rises from nothing ever truly escape the shadows of envy? What do you think was justice served? Can forgiveness heal betrayal? Or does power always come with enemies waiting in the dark? Share your thoughts in the comments, hit like if this story moved you, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that remind us of resilience, redemption, and the thin line between despair and destiny.